Welcome everybody to Funeral Nation episode 87. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the funeral commander Harbison. Mr. Commander, I think, this could be week number 2 where we're talking about weather and how it's affecting our industry or profession.
It's interesting that last week we launched our episode for the Hurricane Harvey Directors Relief Fund. And here we are a week later. Those operations are still going on. In fact, our guest is going to be from down in Texas today. And we're facing, literally at the time we're doing this taping, the Hurricane Irma coming up the other side of the coast.
It looks like it could be just as bad.
Yeah, I talked to a friend of mine, Justin Baxley, this morning. He's in Central Florida, and he's got everything tied down and ready to go. I want to make sure he had cigars just in case, because you need life essential, right?
That's right. I mean, come on. You got to know where your priorities are at.
Yeah, and I'm really concerned down there because, that's kind of the hub of the cigar world, down in Tampa, down that way.
Don't want anything. I mean, gosh, if they can just spare the cigars.
Yeah, save the cigars. But no, in all truthfulness, we hope and pray for our director friends and everybody in our profession the best. Batten down the hatches and let's just get this thing out of the way, and we'll reach out and find out what's going on. In fact, any of the directors that are watching that are effing fans and also some of the organizations, let us know what we can do to help you as well here with Funeral Nation. Speaking of helping, there's nobody better than C&J Financial and the Fast Funding Group. My buddy, our friend, Mr. Jamie Meredith, he was instrumental in getting this together. I remember reaching out to him with the idea, and he just jumped on it all over. And our treasured memories, the folks with Jimmy Altmeyer and his team stepped up to help us. So this has been a remarkable.
And they even gave a sizable donation as well as the.
Yes, platform. They did. Yes, they did. In fact, let's talk about sizable donations here. We have a slew, and thank you, of funeral directors that are donating, anywhere from $15 all on up to $250. Thank you, guys. Yeah. These are your folks, but I haven't heard and we haven't seen from some folks I know. I'm not talking about deep pockets, just a little bit. Come on. If casket companies, we've got some vault companies. It's time to hear from you guys. I don't want to call you out, but hearse companies, you're going to be replacing hearses out here. Folks, these are people that lost their clothes and their own personal cars. Yeah. Please, I implore your companies, everybody step up. Let's make this happen together.
I agree, Jeff. I don't think I have prayed for the weather scenarios more in my entire life than the last week. It's unreal. And, like we discussed last week, death doesn't stop just because a hurricane's coming. So not only are our comrades dealing with losing everything, they're also dealing with bodies piling up that have to be buried and families that have to be served, and who's going to come to their rescue. And I think that's where, when we talked about this fund, that's the position we're coming in from. We're on the director side, and to help those families out that we can immediately touch very easily. And it's a great thing that's happening. I'm glad to see that the profession's coming together, but I obviously think we can do more.
Right. Well, we're getting ready. If everybody's ready to go, we're going to interview here in just a moment Michael Land from down in Texas. This interview is going to be brought to us by Sitch Casket, which is one of our wonderful sponsors, and Pierce Chemical. Hey, Lance, I know you're out there swimming away trying to get stuff done. Lance is down there. Let's go ahead and roll that interview, Ryan. Michael Land, welcome to the Funeral Nation show.
Well, thank you. It's good to be here.
Well, it's great because I understand you're a effing fan. Is that right?
I am an effing fan, yes.
You know what? I can't hear that enough. That's just awesome. Hey, Michael, thank you for being here this morning and sharing with us a little bit about what's going on in Texas. Will you tell us some about your professional background and your position there with the TFDA?
Sure. I am co-owner of Forest Ridge Funeral Home, both in Hurst and North Richland Hills, Texas. I am a past president of the Texas Funeral Directors Association and currently serve as the media relations liaison, and also am on our disaster response team.
Wow. So you've got a lot going on there. By the way, I understand that you were anointed for that position for the media relations guy. How did that happen?
Well, actually, you don't show up for a meeting, and all of a sudden you find that you've been appointed.
That's right.
So
Okay.
That's the rule.
Yeah. You've been appointed and anointed. Good
that's
job.
absolutely.
Right. Well, share with us a little current update about what's going on the ground there in Texas and Houston specifically area.
Well, most of the water has subsided in the greater Houston area. So all of the search and rescue and search and recovery missions have ended. Our disaster response team will start demobilizing at the first of the week. We do have a contingent that will be going further east to the Louisiana-Texas border around the Beaumont and Orange County area. They are still suffering from high water in some areas, 12 to 15 feet. So our contingent will be there until water subsides and we see if we are actually needed for any storm-related deaths. We've been lucky this year that we have not had very many cemetery disruptions, that being caskets and vaults coming up from the grave. There have been a few, but those have remained in the individual cemeteries where they were originally buried. So cemetery crews are able to actually take care of reburying those caskets and vaults. So we've dodged the bullet. We've had a lot of rain, a lot of damage, but we've dodged the bullet as far as fatalities are concerned, which is indeed a great thing.
No doubt.
That's fantastic. It's been a terrible disaster, and it's great to see how it's brought our profession together. And I know, we announced the Hurricane Relief Fund last week, and can you give us a little bit of insight to the committee that's been put together to administer those funds and how you're getting applications from funeral homes who need assistance?
Sure. Again, I was absent from that meeting and got appointed chair of that committee. So, another reason why you always show up.
Hey, you know what? You can go and apply to work with us since you're not going to show up. You can just be a sidekick now.
There you go.
There you go. But our committee is formed of two past presidents, myself being one of them, and several funeral directors from the South Texas area, a few of which were impacted by the storm. We also are blessed with having a liaison from the NFDA to assist us in building guidelines that we will develop within the next week or two to administer any funds that come in. We'll develop a criteria and an application process. Those will be sent out via social media, blast emails to all of our TFDA members, and then we will make phone calls into those areas where there are funeral firms that are not TFDA members to see how we can assist them better in helping them through their crisis.
Right. And I want to remind everybody out there that this fund that we set up is for the individual funeral director and their families.
Sure.
This isn't something to rebuild the funeral home or replace a hearse. This is for people, think about it, everyone out there, that if you lost every bit of your clothes, everything you had, you can replace it, but we need to come together to help them do the little things. And
Sure.
We're on our way. In fact, the fund is, I think we're over $8,500, and we're trying to reach 50,000. And so I did kind of notice out here that we've got some folks that need to catch up, but I'll talk about that on another segment of the show.
All right.
Yeah. Hey, look, I want you also, Michael, would you challenge all your TFDA members that if they're not affected, every little bit helps. So
That's
tell
true.
them,
That's
you
true.
know,
There are so many of our contingents, our directors, brothers and sisters in this affected area, which stretches over 250 miles. And most everybody who was affected by the flooding, their homes are damaged. They really have lost all their clothing. I know of two individuals personally that are suffering in the Houston area. So I do challenge all funeral directors to come together. We have a brotherhood, sisterhood that we need to stand up to the plate, and we need to assist.
you know, it's interesting. We were talking a few minutes ago that people outside of our profession don't realize. You know, you mentioned the death toll from Harvey. However, in a large metro area, especially like Houston, death still occurs. You know, and so will you share with us a little bit about the challenges some of the funeral homes have and still experiencing right now with just natural death happening?
Sure. There, of course, the TFDA disaster response team, we partner with the state of Texas, and we oversee a couple state assets, and those being refrigerated vehicles. We transported a vehicle to the Houston Medical Examiner's Office, Galveston Medical Examiner's Office, because there were so many natural deaths occurring, and the medical examiner's offices were filling to capacity, and they needed something for an overflow because funeral directors were not able to reach their locations to make the removals. So many of them went to the medical examiner's office. And then as the water subsided, funeral directors started making the regular pickups from that point on.
Wow. Interesting. Well, you know, it's funeral directors in this profession, you know, we do what we do on a daily basis. And when things get tough like that, they're always there on the worst day for families. And you guys now are not only from TFDA there for the state and the citizens of Texas, but you're there for your fellow funeral directors on their worst day. And we are so grateful y'all teamed up with us to do this.
Well, we're very grateful to you and Ryan for putting this program together, and from Jamie from C&J Financial, as well as Treasured Memories, because this is a great program. We need to reach out. I think we're going to be reaching out again when Hurricane Irma comes ashore in the Florida area as well. So,
right.
A number of our state disaster team are also on a DMORT team, and so they've already ready for deployment in those areas.
Yeah, it's a tough time right now with our weather. There's people going to be affected even as we speak. Well, Michael, thank you again. You're certainly a Southern gentleman. It's nice to talk with someone that speaks English like I do every once in a while.
Thank you.
Right.
I always try to put 3 or 4 syllables in every 1 syllable word.
That's right. That's the way it's spaced in the word. You ought to see Ryan trying to put out where they had the little italics at the bottom, you know, where he could read it out. Yeah, the captions. I mean, he's just like, forget it. I can't do it. I'll just make it up as we go. We actually have maybe smiley faces and stuff because he meant this.
Yeah, a lot of y'alls and
I can tell you,
hers.
Siri does not understand me.
Well, my friend, thank you and Godspeed. And we're going to do our best to raise some more money for your fellow folks down there. And we're happy that you help us participate in this process.
Well, thank you. I know Ryan's been to convention for a couple of years in a row. We need to get you down again. So.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Love it.
We call it an effing hurricane coming back to town.
There you go. Thank you,
All right,
Jeff.
my
All right.
friend. Take care.
Thank you,
See you.
Michael.
Goodbye.
Thanks for Michael for being on and taking the time amidst of everything that's still going on down there. And it sounds like the hurricane's over, but the work is just beginning, and there's still a pretty high mountain to climb.
Yeah, I mean, even when the flood water goes away, the muck and all the stuff that comes along with it, you literally, I've been through one of these, not me personally for my home damage, but have seen the damage. You know, he did share that we were fortunate the cemeteries kept the caskets down. I've seen one or two, but it hasn't been across the board.
Right. Which is
You know, go ahead. I'm sorry.
no, that's just good news. We've seen the opposite side so many times before.
Yeah, and that whether it's a natural phenomenon, but it's part of our business, and it doesn't look good when it
Yeah.
happens.
Right.
Speaking of looking good, let's talk about a couple of our sponsors here. We have Ellery at aftercare.com. I can tell you my funeral home is using that personally, and it's a fantastic program. So if you haven't been, go to aftercare.com and check it out. We also want to talk about our friends from Skyways Media. I've been part of and seen their work. I have a buddy that used this exclusively in his area, and this is a brilliant program. And so visit and take a look at Skyways Media for what they're producing and bringing out to us. And then finally, United Community Bank. You know what? Think about what's going on right now, people. If your house has been damaged, if a funeral home's been damaged, you're going to need replacement. You're going to need funds. You know, Alan Mulligan at United Community Bank is in the funeral business. Those folks are great. He's got a fantastic team. I can tell you the big guy behind him is one of my favorite men on the planet, sir. And so anyway, take a look at United Community Bank for your banking needs as well.
Excellent, Jeff. And I think our spotlight is kind of unspoken this week, and it's just shining on the funeral directors in Texas and the association down there that's trying to rebuild and recover and recoup and just help get everyone back up on their feet. I mean, I think there's too many people that we can pick one to shine spotlight on. So it's everybody down there.
It's tough. Well, next week, Ryan, I think we're going to gin up for number 88, a Change Makers episode. So stay tuned. Stay tuned. Stay tuned for that. Okay.
Be here.
Be here. Be there. Stay tuned for that. That's my new one. I'm going to stay tuned all day.
Excellent.
Anyway,
well, I appreciate you, Commander. I love what we're doing here, and again, like to just reiterate what Jeff said. Let's come together. $5, $10, $20, $100, $250, whatever it is. Make a donation. It's going to help your fellow funeral directors.
That's it. Well, for our folks in Florida, God bless you. Pull those hatches down. Hang in there. Our folks in Houston, the waters are going down, but the job's not over with. And for everybody in Funeral Nation, open up your hearts and your pocketbooks a little bit. Let's help the people who are in need.
That's it. All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.